Hey guys, Carl here, Cultivate with Carl, and man, what a difference a few weeks makes. It is, some things never change, like the Squirrel Patrol wanting attention as soon as I hit record. But it is now fall, thank goodness. The summer's over, and man, did we pay the price. It was an incredible summer, and we talked about it a little bit last video, but things are changing. The weather's changed, it's much cooler. It's a Saturday, it is the 21st, and right now it feels like it's about 87 degrees, so that's pretty sweet. I can't believe that the summer was as brutal as it was. Totally knocked me out of the garden game for the summer. There was just no way that I could get out here and do garden stuff, and then it's had a big effect on the beds, and we'll talk about that here in a minute, but we got a plan. So we're going to do a garden tour real quick, and then I'm going to talk to you about what I've got going on. I've already been doing some stuff in the garden as far as cleaning up. I'm going to show you just as I haven't begun working in the yard today, so you're going to see the garden as is. And then maybe at the end, we'll take a look at what it is after I finish working. So today is Saturday. I plan on working on the garden today and tomorrow and getting things whipped into shape. We're not doing a full winter garden, but we are growing some stuff, and we're going to plant a lot of cover crops. So that'll be important, and we'll talk about the cover crops when we get to each bed. So let's go take a tour of the beds and see what we got going on. Okay guys, here we go in the raised 4-foot bed. That's, I don't know, we'll call it Bob. What we have are bunching onions and a volunteer tomato plant. Now I have no idea what kind of tomato plant this is, and it's probably going to get transplanted because it looks healthy. It does have some leaf miner damage, and you're going to see some leaf miner damage on the other tomato plants. But the bunching onions, if you remember, they used to be over in the pots. I harvested them, I ate some, I dried out some on the porch, and then after, once it cooled down a little bit, I came out here and planted them, and they have taken off. So these are good, like if you need a topping for a potato or something. You just come out here and snip off a couple of these, wash them up, and then put them. And then at the end of the season, in the spring, we'll pull them, and one onion will become 4 or 5, and then we'll divide them out, and then I'll have my stock to replant for the next grow season, which will be summer into fall. You harvest them twice a year. Now, what type of bunching onion are they? I don't know. I don't remember. I got them from Hoss Tools. So Hoss online, he has a channel, he's got a podcast. They advertise their Tom, T-H-O-M, bunching onions, and that's what these are. So from now till forever, I will always have Tom's bunching onions because, here comes Sound of Freedom. What do we got, C-130? Yep, C-130 doing their job. Way to go, Kiesler. Flying Jennies. Woo! We'll always have Tom bunching onions because every year I could just split the onions, eat half, give away some, and then plant the bed, and they'll always come up. So, and this bed's a pretty good bed for this. Not a bad bed for herbs and stuff. I don't have to bend over as much. Let's move on, and we're going to see we're going to go this way. And so we'll see some of the beds this way. Okay, here's a flyover of the beds, and you can see that the potatoes are starting to come up off the ground, and they've been in the ground now for about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. And so here are the other potatoes, and I'm going to get the markers out, and I'm going to mark these, but I'm getting pretty good productivity. They're equally spaced, and they're all just starting to break ground, so I think that is wonderful. So we're going to have potatoes in these 2 beds. All right, this bed for the winter, this is traditionally our indeterminate tomato bed. This winter, we're going to cover crop this. So we're going to plant, I have mustard, ryegrass, and hairy vetch. And I'm going to mix that up. And then I'm going to rake out some of the mulch in here. I'm going to probably top it off with a little bit of soil. And then bam, I'm going to plant the cover crop, and we're going to water it in. And it's just going to maintain a cover crop from now till the spring. And the thing about the cover crops that I've chosen, with the ryegrass, the hairy vetch, and the mustard will put nematodes, nematodes back in the system, in the soil, and you have good nematodes and bad nematodes. The mustard is a spicy variety, which is good for things like potatoes, and it puts positive or good nematodes in the soil. How? I have no idea. The hairy vetch is a good nitrogen trap, so it takes nitrogen out of the air, forces it to the roots, and then it puts nitrogen back in the soil. So before the hairy vetch comes to seed, I'll then cut it down. I'll leave the roots in the soil, and then as the roots deteriorate, they will release the nitrogen back into the soil and refurbish my nitrogen supply. And the ryegrass does the same thing, just not to the level of the hairy vetch. So I've gotten that information off the internet, and that's why I'm doing it in this fashion. So if you want to look it up, I mean, I'm not a botanist or herbologist or any of that kind of wild stuff. I'm just a dude in my garden, watching YouTube and doing stuff off the YouTube. But, you know, hopefully next year when we have great tomatoes in this bed, it'll be because I did a cover crop. So there we go, rock on. All right, let's go down the fence. And first you're gonna see this was a volunteer tomato that I transplanted into this pot, and it is looking kind of bad because it is the midday and it has not been watered. But I'm not gonna water in the midday. I'm gonna wait till this evening before I water, and then these things will perk right up. So if you notice, it's got a little leaf curl going on, and leaves do that during the midday to protect themselves and not give off too much moisture. So they're trying to preserve their moisture. Over here we have the eggplant. The eggplant may very well be toward the end of its life because it's been in the ground all summer, and because the summer was so hot, we did not get any eggplants. I have wonderful plants, they look great, but nothing, not a single eggplant. I had a few flowers, and that was that. So let's move on down the line. We have 2 tomato plants. Both are looking a little thirsty, and so we'll get them some water this evening. These are also volunteer tomato plants. I have no idea what kind of tomatoes we're gonna get. It's kind of an experiment. This is my jalapeno plant, and it has been producing jalapenos all year. Doing just great. I've eaten some, I've stocked some up in the fridge, and basically I'm gonna overwinter this thing in the pots. If it gets too cold, we'll take it inside. Not a big deal. I am having some little problems with the little spots with the, it looks kind of like blight, but I'll give more attention to this. I haven't been paying attention a lot because of the heat, but now that we've got the heat gone, we'll see what happens. These here were some sort of bell pepper, but I don't think that, you know, this is what we got. And so I've been pulling these off all year. They've only been about this size, but I have been getting them consistently. Here was the last of the zinnias. And then, oops. Okay, here, both of these plants are currants, and we have debate as to whether or not they'll grow down here. The guy that I got these seeds from, he was in the Northeast, but there's also a guy just a couple counties over. He is growing black currants, and he's doing just fine. So I don't know if these are gonna make it or not, but now that the heat is off, they seem to be doing okay. Now that one's looking a little wilty, and I'll be honest with you, this one has never looked good. It came, I put it in the ground, it's grown, but it has always looked terrible. This one has always looked good, but I have no idea with currants if they're supposed to be a bush or a vine or what. But if we can grow currants, the fruit off of these things is phenomenal. We have here another volunteer tomato. You can see the leaf miner damage on it. Here we have the shishito peppers. This shishito pepper plant is the plant champion of 2023. It is growing like crazy. Man, this looks pathetic. I know y'all think I'm a terrible gardener. I don't know what's going on with this one. Poor thing. Here we go, another pepper plant. See, how can this plant right next to this plant be doing so well and this one not doing well at all? But it's got jalapenos on it. The old rosemary plant doing bang up job. And then these were gypsy peppers. And these gypsy peppers are awesome. I've gotten peppers all year off of this plant, and it keeps on giving. This will be another plant that I overwinter. It's going to be wonderful. And I like taking these and putting them in my spaghetti sauce. They do pretty good if I don't kill it with the cord here. All right. Okay, here we have, this is also going to be potato row. I've taken some of the potatoes that we had left over from last year, and I put them in all these buckets, and we are watering them, and we're going to let them grow. Now, I'll tell you, there's funny, like this plant right here, you're like, well, why is that plant so much bigger than all the others? That's actually volunteer potatoes that I must have missed one when I cleaned the pots out last time, and all of a sudden it just started growing. So all of these pots have potatoes. These are red potatoes right here up to that flag, and then these down here are going to be Caribes, the purple. So I'm going to make signs for all these. It's one of the things I'm doing today. So from here to the end is Caribe, and those Caribe ones were pretty good. And so, but you notice like I got a lot of weeding to do on the fence and stuff. And this is just a result of not being out here kicking the garden in the butt over the winter. All that weeding on the fence that I got to knock out. All right, let's take a look over here. Okay, in these two beds, I had leftover okra plants. And they were okra seeds, and I just threw them in the bed to get something in there. I haven't even been picking them. I've just been leaving them to be. And that's how big they got. Now, these okra plants are supposed to be like 6 feet tall and pumping out okras like crazy. And they've been doing a pretty good job. You know, one okra here, two okras there, but I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna pull them, chunk them right into the compost. This bed right here was full of sunflowers, and I only got one sunflower plant out of it. And I don't know why they didn't grow, but you can see I've got to get in here and weed and stuff. Okay guys, here we go. I come over here to the sweet potato bed, and I've started to pull sweet potatoes, but these are about what I'm getting out of this bed. Now this bed is partially in the shade during the day, and it did not get a lot of water. It is not on my irrigation system, but as you can see, we got sweet potatoes, but like they have bug holes in them. I don't know how much that matters. You know, obviously the bugs thought that they were pretty good. But what we're going to do is we're going to try and dig up a set here before the air conditioner turns on again. We're going to go ahead and try and dig these up, get in the ground, and kind of get up underneath them. There we go. This bed was pretty fertile. We have put a bunch of manure and stuff in it. There is one dead potato. That is the seed potato, I believe, and that's the potato from which all roots come. So let's just keep rolling it back and seeing if we get any other potatoes along the way. Yeah, there we go. So you can see we got some, but again, they're all pretty small. You know, I've never grown them before, but I don't know if these will make seed potatoes for next year or what. I don't think you could eat these. It looks like, oh, it looks like I hit that one with the fork. But, you know, this is going to make a lot of greenery. I'm going to chop it up and put it in the compost pile. So hopefully that'll do okay. Let's see. Looks like we got to get a little bit more. Oh, I see another one over there. A nice one. Couple have popped up. Uh-oh. I don't want to, I just don't want to go jamming the fork in. See what we get. Yeah, just getting a bunch of them little ones. Here's the microphone. Alright, well there you have it, guys. That's what that's the kind of stuff we're getting out. This one's eaten up with bugs. This one not so much. So I guess what I'll do is cure them, and then maybe put them up for next year. I don't know. We'll see. The this area here, kind of like a bonus grow area, and what I probably will going to do is cover crop it, and then next year when it comes the fall or the spring next year, I'll probably just put regular potatoes in here and then let it go. It stays in the shade, so maybe something like the currants or something like that would do good over here. What I really need to do is hook it to the irrigation system, but the line on this irrigation that would hook into here is pretty long already anyway. So, but that's it. Okay, let's go check out something else. Okay, guys, in these beds right here, the goal is to purge them of the stuff that's in them now, do some weed control, and then plant them with a cover crop. And so part of that process is tomorrow, probably tomorrow, I'll get in here and I'll pull everything that's in them, the okra, the corn, the squash. I'll get all the weeds out. I'll mix up the surface a little bit, and we'll get it a good dose of water. I've already given it some water today. We'll hit it again tomorrow. Make sure my irrigation system's working the way that I want it to. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cover crop all these beds right here. This whole row of beds is going to be cover crop for the winter. I'm going to put that mix on there. Hopefully we'll cover it all really good. We'll then water it in, and that'll be it for these. This is the west side of my garden. So the west side of the beds for the winter are going to be out of the game. And so the east side beds are going to have the onions and the potatoes. That last bed on the end, the tomato bed, is going to be cover cropped. So the only thing we'll be doing will be these two beds and the pots. And then about January, February, we'll go ahead and start our new starts for the next year. And I'm going to for sure get a jump on my tomatoes this year coming up. And I'm going to plant a couple more beds. Where we had the sweet potatoes, I'm going to cultivate a little more there. And I'm going to try and make that area useful. Not useful during the winter because it doesn't get any sun during the winter. As soon as the sun drops toward the south and the bed goes to the shade, it'll go in the shade probably in about a month, and it'll be in the shade all the way to the spring. So no big deal. I think that's it. We've started filling the bird feeder up again, and the squirrels have come around, so the squirrel patrol is on full alert. We did have some action over the summer with a possum. The squirrel patrol, I think they got a possum, to be honest with you. Of course, he could have just been playing possum and got away, but the facts of that night were pretty gruesome. So, in fact, they may have eliminated one possum. So, there you go. If you were on Instagram, you caught that. I did post on Instagram. So if you do want to follow me when I'm not posting videos, I am for sure posting on Instagram. If not garden updates, for sure squirrel patrol updates. And so you can keep tracking me there. I'm Cultivate with Carl. I guess it's hashtag Cultivate with Carl on Instagram. And so check me there. If you're new to the channel, normally during the gardening time, about once a week, I'm putting an update up. But just like I said, this summer has been a little wackadoo. Over the winter, I would imagine I'm going to get a video out about, let's go for once every 2 weeks. So from this point forward, once every 2 weeks, I'm going to try and put a video as we check on our potatoes and we check on the status of the cover cropping. And I think that's about it. So how did your garden do during the summer? Did your garden suffer the same fate as mine? I know that Scott Head over there in Houston, he's in the same grow zone. He basically shut down for 3 months. I just watched his video a little bit ago, and he shut down. He said his gardens are full of weeds and terrible, and everything got nuked with the heat. Also, with the heat came a drought. It would be one thing. A lot of times we're hot, but we're also wet here. So hot and wet. It's the way to be for your summer. Heard it here first. But we got hot and dry. No fun for anyone. So there you go. It's Carl, Cultivate with Carl. And as I always say, have a hobby, more than one hobby, because if it gets too hot, then you can go do your inside hobby. That's much more fun in hot summer. But I'm looking forward to putting out more videos for you here in the fall and then coming up in the spring. And hopefully you're going to continue to enjoy watching them. So as always, it's Carl with the Squirrel Patrol, and we're signing off from Cultivate with Carl.